about the last time you assumed someone was doing well financially. Maybe it was the car they drove, the bag they carried, the way they talked about money with a certain ease. Now ask yourself, did any of that actually tell you something true? Because, in most cases, it didn't. What it told you was what that person wanted you to believe. And those are two very different things. According to Federal Reserve data, a significant portion of American households could not cover a $400 unexpected expense without borrowing money or selling something. That same period saw luxury goods sales hit record highs, premium vehicle registrations increased, designer brand revenue expanded, high-end dining stayed packed. Something is structurally broken in the relationship between what Americans have and what Americans spend. This video is about that disconnect, and more importantly, it is about how to make sure you are not quietly caught inside it. American households collectively carry over $1 trillion in credit card debt. The average household owes more than $100,000 when you add mortgages, auto loans, student loans, and revolving balances together. And yet, if you walked through any upscale shopping district on a weekend afternoon, you would have no idea. There is a term for this gap between financial reality and financial appearance. I am going to call it performing prosperity. A large and growing segment of the population has learned to manufacture the signals of wealth without building the substance behind it. The performance itself prevents the real thing from arriving. Every dollar directed toward maintaining the image is a dollar that never compounded in an investment account. Real financial progress tends to be invisible. It lives in balance sheets, in net worth statements, in accounts no one else sees. Performed prosperity requires an audience to exist at all. The moment the performance stops, so does the illusion. Sign 1. The prestige, brand, entry-level budget. Someone buys the minimum viable version of the most expensive brand they can technically access. The Baystrom luxury sedan with cloth seats and no upgrades. The designer belt purchased as a standalone item. The goal is not the product. The goal is the logo on it. Manufacturers understand this completely. Entry-level products from premium brands are deliberately engineered to capture aspirational buyers. A fully optioned mainstream sedan lands in the same price range as a base model entry luxury vehicle. In objective terms, it is frequently the better product at that price point. But the person making this decision is not operating on objective terms. They are making an emotional one. Entry luxury vehicles carry luxury tier maintenance costs regardless of trim level. Specific oil requirements, higher insurance classifications, parts pricing that reflects the brand. Someone performing prosperity typically directs 20 to 30% of their income toward appearance categories. Someone actively building wealth directs 2 to 5%. That 15 to 25% gap, invested consistently over 2 or 3 decades, produces outcomes that are genuinely difficult to overstate. The person who has genuinely built wealth often acquires status items after establishing a foundation. The person performing prosperity acquires the status symbol first. Sign 2. Perpetual money talk. Every conversation eventually circles back to money, income, returns, deals they are working on. Genuine financial security does not require this kind of continuous broadcast. The incessant money talk is filling a psychological gap. External acknowledgement is substituting for internal confidence that has not fully arrived yet. The most reliable tell is when the financial story is almost always in the future tense. The deal about to close. The investment that is going to pay off. Always arriving. Never arrived. Consider someone who references their business doing $600,000 in revenue when the actual take-home after expenses was $50,000. When you have actually built something real, you stop needing to narrate it. Sign 3. Luxury that exceeds the safety net. Someone carrying a bag that costs more than their entire liquid savings. The purchase is not a reward for success. It is a costume for success that has not materially arrived yet. If buying something requires a meaningful portion of your available liquid capital and you cannot absorb the loss without stress, you cannot actually afford it. A credit card makes almost any purchase mechanically possible. That does not make the purchase financially sound. By the time the balance is retired, the buyer has often paid 25 to 35% above retail for something now worth a fraction of what they paid. People who have genuinely built wealth make luxury purchases that represent a small, genuinely inconsequential fraction of their net worth. Sign 4. The compulsive one-upper. You share something you are proud of. They immediately match it with something larger. Picture this at a dinner with friends. Someone shares that they have finally reached a savings milestone. Before the acknowledgement can land, someone else pivots to themselves. Compulsive one-upping comes from someone who experiences other people's success as a direct threat to their own perceived standing. Real financial security allows someone to acknowledge your wins without needing to immediately surpass them. Sign 5. The curated prosperity feed. The algorithmically optimized social media presence designed to broadcast a lifestyle whether or not it reflects financial reality. Spending consistently outperforms saving as content. A video of someone spending $2,000 at a boutique generates more engagement than someone contributing to a retirement account. People discover that projecting wealth generates attention and validation regardless of whether the wealth actually exists. So they perform prosperity for the engagement. Nobody posts their Saturday spent at home to reduce spending. Nobody films their budget tracking sessions. The invisible, disciplined parts of financial life generate no engagement. People who have genuinely built wealth tend to maintain minimal social media presence around their finances. Sign 6. The perpetual lease cycle. Leasing a vehicle is, in most circumstances, the most expensive way to access a car across a long time horizon. When you lease, you are financing the steepest portion of a vehicle's depreciation curve. You pay the difference between original value and residual, plus interest and fees. At the end of the lease, you return the vehicle. No equity, no asset, nothing to show for the payments made. Someone who leases continuously for 15 years has made substantial payments and owns nothing at the end of it. The appeal is transparent. It makes vehicles accessible at monthly payment levels that feel affordable, regardless of whether they actually are. Sign 7. The counterfeit signal. If someone is carrying a replica of a designer item, they are explicitly communicating that the image they want to project exceeds what they can honestly access. A counterfeit is by definition a false signal. Anyone with genuine familiarity with quality goods can typically identify a quality replica without sustained examination. A convincing replica typically costs $200 to $300. For that same capital, a person could purchase a genuinely well-constructed item from an honest brand. The counterfeit buyer ends up with neither the quality they could have purchased honestly nor the status they were trying to manufacture. Sign 8. The perpetual next opportunity. Not obvious fraud, but the slightly more sophisticated category of opportunities that sound almost plausible. Currency trading, cryptocurrency arbitrage strategies, automated drop shipping, options, frameworks, network marketing, real estate with no starting capital. The person performing prosperity tends to be drawn to these opportunities because they operate in future tense. You do not need to have built anything yet. Someone discovers a new vehicle and commits to it publicly. They talk about it constantly. Several months later, the results have not matched the projection. They quietly move on. Actual wealth is mostly built through processes that are profoundly unexciting to describe: consistent contributions, equity accumulation, career capital development over years. Sign 9. The uninvited financial audit. This person actively critiques your choices and redirects you toward their approach. You mention you are content in your apartment. They suggest you should be thinking about owning by now given your income. You are driving a paid-off used car. They wonder why you have not considered something newer. Here is what is actually happening. They need to justify their own decisions. If you are thriving on a different financial path, it creates an implicit challenge to their narrative. Personal finance is deeply contextual. Two people with identical incomes may need completely different strategies based on health, family structure, risk tolerance, and a dozen other variables. A person with genuine financial confidence can acknowledge that multiple strategies work for different people. Sign 10. The maximalist display. Everything visible, all at once, at a full volume. The maximalist display reveals a fundamental misunderstanding of how actual wealth tends to present itself in everyday life. Consider some of the most financially accomplished people in modern life. The ones without a professional reason to dress for an audience tend to dress with remarkable simplicity. When you have nothing to prove, that absence shows up in how you move through the world. The magnitude of the display is typically inversely related to the underlying security. The louder the broadcast, the more fragile the foundation. These 10 signs are not independent quirks. They share a common architecture. Performed prosperity is organized around external orientation. Every financial decision is filtered through one question. How will this be perceived? What will people think? What does this signal? Genuine wealth building is organized around a different question entirely. Does this actually serve what I am building? Does this move me toward financial freedom? The externally oriented person spends much more every year maintaining an image that requires continuous reinvestment. The car needs to stay current. The wardrobe needs refreshing. The internally oriented person directs the same resources toward assets and positions that generate future freedom. Investment accounts grow. Emergency savings provide real security. 15 years from now, these two people's financial positions look almost unrecognizable from each other, even with identical starting incomes. The difference is not intelligence. It is not income. It's not luck either. It is the orientation of the decisions toward appearance or toward substance. The wealth illusion is visible everywhere once you are looking for it. Before you look outward, run the audit on yourself. Be honest about it. Are the financial decisions you are making primarily oriented toward what actually serves your future, or are a meaningful number of them oriented toward maintaining an image? The exit from this cycle is available at any point. It does not require deprivation. It requires an honest reorientation of the question you ask before each significant financial decision. Not, how does this look? But, does this serve what I am actually building? Real wealth is built in private. It grows in accounts no one sees, through decisions no one applauds, across timelines that generate almost nothing worth sharing. The person who genuinely has options makes decisions from financial security rather than financial pressure. They usually did not get there through a visible or dramatic path. That path is quieter, less photogenic. It generates almost nothing worth posting about, and it is the only one that actually works. If this video reframed how you think about spending, status, and what you are actually building toward, consider sharing it with someone who would find it valuable. Subscribe for more content on building wealth that is real, not performed. Drop a comment with one financial goal you are quietly working toward right now.